So I want you to respond to what Mr. Felix Smoker said, because he did say your leader, Peter Obi, is dubious intellectually when he responds to the issues of the day in criticizing the government of the day. Of course, you listened to him. You heard what he had to say.
I did, and it's very, very appalling and unbelievable. We're all Nigerians. I'm sure, even in his own home, you know how much a bag of rice costs. Was Peter Obi the one that made that particular prices? Obviously not. We also know that how can you, as a government, say you increase the salary of the civil servant, the next few days, with the money up to now, has not reached the pocket of the civil servant?
It hasn't been paid.
Who is lying? Who on this earth is lying? Mr. Peter Obi, or they are the one lying? They are the one deceiving the people and manipulating the shit. Look, I'm just coming from Benin, from Delta State. The road from Benin, out of Benin, on your way to Enugu or any other eastern state, is still as dangerously bad. But yet you are budgeting money. You want to build a road from Calabar to Lagos. Not that there's something wrong with it, but the fact is that the priority at the moment? Obviously, no. Some few days ago, Nigerians were being killed like chickens in Zamfara State, Katsina and the rest of them. Was it statement made, or was it Peter Obi that was the banditry that went into Zamfara bush? Obviously, no. And these are things that even the bandits are coming out to say that it is the government that is sponsoring them. They didn't say any other person. Now, you're talking about the school fees of Nigerians. Students are going back to school today, maybe in a few days now. Many people cannot pay. They cannot take care of it. Is that the issue of Nigeria in Peter Obi?
Okay.
So, in a nutshell, you cannot look at Nigerians and insult them in this level of magnitude and think probably you are just doing your...
It's all right. Tanko, you've done your bit, right? But let's go back to that the other loudmouth. Okay, the one that is challenging the Obidients. That if you think you have all it takes, why don't you just do it this way? I had that one too.
Well, I was hearing about it early this evening, and I was just wondering, because at least since last year, the Obedient movement has been an integral part of the Labour Party. Of course, as Tanko explained, you cannot contest election under current laws in Nigeria unless you belong to a political party. But there has been a lot of crisis in the Labour Party recently, including an attempt to change the National Executive Committee. And I can imagine that the Obedient movement is a bit uncomfortable because there are some elements in the Labour Party, including the leaders of organized labor, who are not really obedient, and they feel that they are the ones that set up the party, that the Obedients only flocked in last year. So possibly now, by organizing themselves as they said they will do, they probably are thinking of launching a political party of their own. And that might make for more internal peace instead of the conflicts that we are having now. And they also have enough time, because at least the next election is nearly 3 years away. So if they want to do their own political party alone, they should better do it. Although along the way, still, they may have to enter into alliances, because on their own alone, it might be very difficult to actualize their dreams, as Tanko said, who will win the presidential election.
Indeed. Well, he didn't give a direct answer when I asked him if the plan was to eventually morph into a political party from the movement. But let's go back to the government of the day and the economic policies. The government is still pleading with Nigerians that this is necessary. It's a necessary evil that we must go through. But you had Felix Smoker, the APC spokesperson, try his best to defend the administration. What do you make of the situation? I mean, it's a tough decision to defend hard times when Nigerians are really suffering and trying to make ends meet.
As you said, Mr. Morka tried very hard, but the most important question which I think you asked was like, when will the suffering end and citizens will begin to reap the fruits of the economic reform measures. I don't think he had a very concrete answer to that, and even the government itself, of course, is promising that there will be light at the end of the tunnel, but no one can precisely put his finger on when that will happen. But that is a very important question because in a democratic situation, citizens cannot be patient forever, not only in Nigeria, but even in some countries. If election comes forth and the end to the suffering is not very clear, then usually the incumbents in office will have to pay an electoral price. It is good to be patient, but probably you don't expect citizens to be patient indefinitely. Well, I was hearing about it.
Anyway, we will leave the obedience for now. There's something that is cocoa. And this one is, I mean, this actually came from the governor of Anambra, the Soludom, who said, I don't know if it's a slip of tongue, but he did say this. He said, in case if all of you don't know, Nigeria don't record that since February, and it's just coming to kind of confirm what I have already shared with us here severally. I mean, as recent as last week or 2 weeks ago, when I said, every time they tell you that Nigeria oil production has jumped up, that Nigeria is now producing, what do you call it? It's now producing 1.5 million barrels of crude oil. I said, how many times have you asked them, how much is Nigeria making from the 1.3 million barrel of crude oil every day? How much is Nigeria making every day? How much are they paying to Nigeria? Apart from you reading every time that Nigeria is now producing 1.3 million barrels every day, how much is being remitted to Nigeria national cover every day or a month? Nobody gave me the answer because the answer is zero. Soludo said since February, Shishi has not been remitted to Nigeria net cover from the sale of crude oil by the NNPC. And everybody seems to be comfortable.
Ego mmanụ Nigeria agwụgo. Unu na-anụ ya? Since February, March, April, May, na June agwụla agwụ. NNPC, not one kobo. Kapapunye na Federation account, ego a na-eji Abuja eweta. Kapapunyere kobo. Unu na-anụkwa ya? Ego a na-ejezi nke a na-eweta ebe a. Agbada. Ife a na-ewetezi ebe a bụ ego customs. Ife a kwụdara na customs. Na ego ndị company kwụ na tax. Ọ ya ka a na-ekezi. Ego oil emego gịnị? Unu na-anụkwa ya? Ọ dị mma ka onye ọbụla ị na-apụ ịghọta ya tata.
February to June. Kobo, Shishi, not remitted into Nigerian national purse. Can you even imagine that? Is that not even enough for you to all kind of enter street tomorrow and say, Abba, 1.3 million barrels of crude oil every day. Nigeria is producing 1.3 million barrels. And since February, Shishi has not been remitted into your. That's a former central bank governor, former national economic advisor to a president, and current governor of a state in Nigeria. He made that statement a few days ago. Everywhere calm because it is Nigeria. Unfortunately, Dangote raised an alarm today. This is new. You know, say Dangote refinery and all of the associated controversies is just never ending. It's not ending. How? Before Dangote, Nigeria as oil-producing country cannot refine our own crude oil. Nigeria export crude oil and imports refined petroleum products to sell to Nigerians at subsidized rates. And this subsidy is what wrecked Nigeria. Then Dangote built a refinery that's about 40-45% completed, producing enough that could possibly even fill in your local consumption and demand. No. That moment, they can't say crude oil no day for Dangote. Before Dangote, right, you were producing crude oil, exporting it, bringing finished products. Now, Nigeria is importing crude oil, exporting finished products. Because according to Dangote, the oil marketers in Nigeria reported him to Tifnumbu. Yeah, that Dangote refineries products, they are too cheap for them to patronize. Is a cheap oil not the reason why a lot of you have been complaining that Nigerian refineries should be working? Assuming Nigerian refineries are working, say oil marketers in Nigeria will say it is too cheap to buy because they want to sell you expensive petrol. But if they explain Nigeria to you, and then you are not angry, they don't explain them well. There's no way they go explain Nigeria to you, and you are not going to run crazy like say what? Now so Baba, now so Mr. Baba crazy like this, so this country must break. But they explain Nigeria to you, and you're laughing. They don't explain them well. So right now, Dangote said they have reported him to call that Dangote won't come spoil business. His petrol is too cheap for them to patronize. NNPC said, no, we can't patronize you. Go and sell it. Carry it for head. Go and sell it yourself because we are comfortable with the importers and the subsidy we are paying. Nigeria. So right now, Dangote is now importing crude oil from Brazil, from the United States of America. 95% of that refined product from Dangote refinery, they are now exporting that to neighboring countries to go and sell. Because Nigerian marketers are comfortable collecting subsidy and selling you a liter of petroleum for 1,300 naira. Oba explain Nigeria fine to understand there. To understand to Binu. They no explain anything to you. Take that to the bank. I'll tell you more about that some other time. Well, here is something. Yesterday we were talking about what do you call it? We were talking about Bello Turuji, where Bello Turuji as the Lord and Savior on his own, right? He controls vast majority of areas in northern Nigeria, okay? And is believed to be bigger than Shekau. You remember Alhaji Shekau? Turuji is believed to be bigger than him. He has vast connection and then areas where people actually are paying taxes to him. Failure to pay your taxes is death in Turuji's kingdom in Nigeria. Today, some place called Gusau. Sorry, I'm not so used to some of those names, but I need to kind of read it. It says Gusau Funtua Highway, Zamfara area. They just entered street and and started kidnapping those they wanted. Yeah, unknown number of travelers have been kidnapped by terrorists suspected to be Turuji and his men. Yeah, it happened. But the news, in fact, the report was like, ever busy Guso Funtua Highway. Sherry Highway to where ever busy. Look at highway. Now the road, the giant of Africa, bellicose, giant of Africa. They have no idea of how many people have been kidnapped as we speak. But that happened. And that's the regular thing. Terrorism in Nigeria destroyed tourism. Terrorism killed tourism. Because gone are the days when you could actually go on road trip for months. All you will need is a solid, roadworthy forerunner. You can be on the road for like a month or two, exploring the internal communities of Nigeria from the north to the south, from the east to the west. And you can circle the whole place. The only people you'll be worried about will be maybe armed robbers or policemen, extortionists. Today, if you dare put yourself on the road, you may never come back again. Like the husband of this woman who cries out, "Let the widows breathe."
This is a plead with a beg to our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Dear President, the hardship is telling on us, most especially widows like me. I'm a widow of 2 children who are still toddlers. I became a widow, Your Excellency, sir, because of the insecurity of Nigeria. My late husband was kidnapped in 2022 and was killed despite paying ransom. Your Excellency, I'm law-abiding, I'm hardworking, and despite the insecurity in Nigeria made me a young widow and made my twins fatherless, I still keep pushing. I still remain in Nigeria. I still stay and live in Nigeria. But dear President, please, I'm begging. The hardship is too much. The hardship is telling on us. I have 2 children and I'm working hard. Everything is on the hike. Many young widows are suffering today. Please pity us. Have mercy on us. Dear First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, please, you are a mother and you are a wife. And I know and I believe you know what we are going through, especially young widows like me. I became a widow because of insecurity in Nigeria. My children are fatherless because of insecurity. And I still keep working hard. I still keep pushing. But at this point, I'm fed up. I'm tired. I'm fed up. And I can't take it any longer. Dear President, please, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I want you to have mercy on us, especially young widows. We are tired. The hardship is telling on us. Before many of us begin to pay one by one, I beg. Have mercy. This hardship is too much. I am educated. I'm hardworking. I'm law abiding. But I still keep pushing. I still keep hustling for my children that Nigeria made fatherless. The insecurity of Nigeria made them fatherless and made me a widow. Please have mercy. Have mercy on young widows like me. The hardship is too much.
I'm so sorry, dear. It's unfortunate that you are appealing to a deaf demagogue, unfortunately. And Nigerians are like emotional people. See, they're already asking me to kind of, please, let's get her contacts and let us reach out to her. Of course. I wish I have a contact. Okay. So, and if I do get a contact, trust me, I'll be the first to share that with all of us here so that you can reach out to her directly. Okay. I have seen people who have already been making moves.